Oh, hello. My dog whistle was called because the All-Stars 4 announcement finally happened last week, and we have a trailer, we have photos, let's talk about it. Also, I'm Lauren-Blair Donovan, a comedian and lifelong challenge fan. I have a YouTube where I do deep dives, button in the profile, but let's just get into it. I'm just gonna go through the cast alphabetically, and please let me know in the comments how excited you are for certain people to come back, or what concerns you have, or I just want to hear it all. Ace. I am so excited for Ace to come back. I was so thrilled when he was here on All Stars 1. I have missed his presence since, but I have a concern. And I say this with love, but like he kind of feels like the drummer from Spinal Tap. Like he's always being sent home first or at least second. And it's my hope of hopes that he makes it at least halfway through the season. I'd prefer him to make it to a final. I'd be cool with him winning a final, but like, please, let's get him past the first or second episode, please. And also he is on TikTok, so I'm gonna tag him. Go follow him if you don't already, because why wouldn't you? Adam, this is what I think people thought like the Challenge All-Stars was gonna be, like all these people from the first 10 seasons, like Road Rules people like him. So I'm super excited to see him back. I really liked his Mike Lewis interview a lot, and I'm excited to see how he does in this game all these years later. My only memories of him, I think, are from Gauntlet 2 at this point, because that is at least on Paramount Plus. I do deep dives starting with the earliest seasons of the challenge on YouTube and kind of react there. But I've only done the first 2 seasons and he's not there yet. So I'm just excited to make his acquaintance again because it's been a damn minute and I'm curious. Are you guys excited to see him back? Because I am. We have Avery here, and I don't have anything against Avery, but when I think, and I say this with all due respect, but when I think Avery, I don't necessarily think All-Stars. That said though, I do love redemption arcs. Some of my favorite things of whether it's like especially the first 2 seasons of All-Stars or the homecomings, which by the by, like that's canceled, right? Like is that not coming back? I don't think that's coming back. Someone knows, let me know, because I want it to come back, but I don't usually get what I want in life, so prove me wrong. Like, let me know. But I think Avery kind of got like a raw deal. She came onto the challenge towards the end of its like nonsense regarding chauvinism and just like not being kind to women, which sounds like I just said the same thing, but I think the challenge, as much as I love the show, it did a really good job of like just showing all the different ways you can disrespect women. Like, so, ugh. And I'm not claiming that she's a perfect person, but I think there was a bit of a he said, she said scenario going on. And I felt like Johnny was really aggressive in all honesty. And she seems like a sweet enough girl. So I'm excited for her to come back. I liked her Mike Lewis interview also, which is more current than the last time we saw her. And I'm not against seeing her again. Let's put it that way. But what do you guys think? And wrapping up the A's, going in alphabetical order with the first names, we have Iana, who I actually am really excited to see back for a couple of reasons. One is she was a lot of fun, love her or hate her, on All Stars 2. Like she was a part of some of the major plot points, and I think she's good TV, love her or hate her, so I'm excited to have her back. I also had the pleasure of meeting her. I'm currently living in Atlanta, Georgia, temporarily, question mark. But I used to live in Los Angeles, which is where a man named Cyrus lives. And you know Cyrus, because he's gonna be in this list too, which makes me very excited, so follow if you don't already, because I'm gonna get to him in a couple videos when we get to the S's. But Cyrus throws parties, and he threw an All-Stars 3 premiere party, and he was so nice. Like, in general, he's a very nice man. I've met him. He's great. But he invited me to it, and it was so fun. And I'm not just humble bragging. I'm going somewhere with this. Iana was there. And honestly, guys, I have been in the same room as Melissa McCarthy, and I was fine. But I lost my cool around Iana. I literally said to her as my hello, "You're so beautiful." Because she really was. Like, I think she's a cute girl, don't get me wrong, but she's stunning in real life. And she just had such a positive, warm energy, and she was so nice to me and my friend Greenberry, who I brought along with me, even though she's never seen the challenge. And like, she was just so nice. Like, she just radiated warmth and goodness and like left such a good impression on me. So I'm just happy to see her back on my screen in general. But if you don't know, she is also in the middle of a breast cancer fight right now. Like, she was somewhat recently diagnosed with breast cancer, and lately on her Instagram, she's been posting about it, and it just seems so harrowing because like she lost her mom to breast cancer, and she's a mom herself of 4 children. It's just like, life is not fair. So I was super excited because I didn't remember, because like the casting stuff happened like a year ago and I didn't remember the list verbatim, and I don't remember if she was on it or if she's a surprise or like what, but it really made me happy to see her on this list. And if you don't follow her, please go follow her. I don't know if she's on TikTok, but she is on Instagram, and she has a GoFundMe going on right now, and she has cancer. She has kids. Like, if you can help, please help. And she's lovely in real life, so please. I am so excited that the man who never blinks is gonna be back on our screens. That like low-key hurt my eyes to do that, and I didn't even like keep my eyes open for that long. So I don't know how Brad does it. I guess he really is an all-star in more ways than one. Anyway, I'm actually really excited to have Brad back. He just feels like a staple of, frankly, a little bit still the main show. I know it's been a couple of seasons, but he was on some like relatively recent seasons and did quite well. But when he was added to All Stars 2, I think that was his first All Star season, like it felt like a challenge. Not that All Stars 1 didn't, because of course it did, but yeah, no, he's one of the faces of the challenge. I also really like the man who he's become. I don't claim to know him in real life or anything, but when you look at like San Diego or like his first challenge seasons, like, and I say this with love, but he was kind of a knucklehead, like a nice knucklehead. He always had a great moral compass. Like, whenever I rewatch the show, I'm actually pretty astonished at just how progressive he was in certain ways about like different social groups, if you will. Like, you know, he's a cis straight white man. That's not always a given. But just, I don't know, I just have a lot of respect for his like character growth over the years, and I see how badly he wants the win again, and I can't help but root for him. He's never necessarily like the number one person I'm rooting for, but he's always the person, if he like took the crown from the person I was rooting for, I'd be actually pretty tickled, like tickled as punch, because I think he's a good dude and he wants it, and he would have earned it if he won, for sure. What do you guys think, though? Brandon's coming back, and I know I said I would keep it shorter, this video, but I might be a lying liar who lies. We'll see, because this might be my number one. Brandon's also on TikTok, so I'm gonna tag him and go follow him if you don't already. And let me know if I've missed any challengers that I haven't mentioned that about, because I'm me and I've kind of been in and out of this channel due to some like health reasons and moving and all this stuff, so let me know if I need to follow people. Okay, Brandon is one of my favorites, and he almost always has been. He did not make a huge impression on me in Fresh Meat 2, not because of anything he did. I just find the Fresh Meat seasons very chaotic in real time because it's so many people I don't know and my brain kind of like it implodes. But he became a standout to me during Cutthroat because his team was so mean to him. Like, they were so cliquey. They were like the mean girls. I don't care that there are guys on it. You get what I'm talking about. He kept proving himself, and he did a good job proving himself. And they kept throwing him in. And almost every other challenge that he did, he was with like terrible partners or just had like dumb, bad, blind luck. And you know what? Maybe there's some other challengers that could claim that and they would have legs to stand on, like, fair enough. But what makes me be his biggest cheerleader, though, is that he seems like one of the nicest, just calmest, chillest, most reasonable, maybe humans, but like especially a human on reality television. Like, how did this man get cast? Like, he's not a dramatic dude. Like, I'm not mad at it. I would love for more people like him to be on our screen, but that's not usually reality casting 101. Like, he's a treasure. And he's also one of the only cast members where every time I rewatch, I'm still on his side, if not more so. You know when you get older and wiser and you sometimes look at any piece of media that you used to love and you're like, oh, I was in a different headspace. Like, this isn't as great, like, in terms of cast members with this show. Like, some people I think I thought was funny or just seemed kind of cool and interesting. I'm like, ugh, yeah, no, that was not a good look. Like, no. And then there's some people that I kind of wrote off and I see a lot more nuance to them because I just have older, wiser eyes, blah, blah, blah. I love Brandon every single time. And I don't understand why he was not everyone's best friend on the challenge. I don't understand why he was not treated better. I think he's a good athlete. We never got to see how great, though, of an athlete he is. So I'm rooting for a lot of people on All-Stars 4 because it's very overwhelming. It's like too many favorites. It's Sophie's choice. But I've been wanting him to come back to our screens for so long, and I've wanted him to win for so long, so I'm calling it. This is my number one. This is who I'm rooting for. Full stop. What about you guys, though? Are you as excited as me, or are you as excited as me? Cara Maria. I'm actually excited to have her back. I don't know how to put into words how I feel about her. On one hand, I have a soft spot for her. On another hand, there's some stuff I'm maybe not as down with, like, fair enough. But I think, love or hate her, you have to acknowledge she has one of the most impressive trajectories of the entire history of the challenge. And I think she's for sure on the Rushmore of challenge people, for sure. Like, she went from getting eliminated the first elimination to being the one who was often really, like, picked on and was considered a layup, to being the first woman to beat everyone, every gender, everyone by herself. She is the definition of an all-star. So I'm thrilled to have her back, but what about you guys? I know she can be polarizing. Blow up my comments if you must. I actually love Derek. I didn't always, with all due respect, in his earlier days, he never really stood out to me either which way. Like, he's a likable dude, so I didn't have a problem with him. It just, I don't know, I just never clocked him, I guess. But after All-Stars 2, he just kind of grew on me. He seems lovely still, so there's that. I didn't remember him being as funny as he was. I can't believe how well he did in his elimination, even though I know he lost and was the first to go, but, like, that was a hard one, and everybody thought he wouldn't, like, he did great, like, and it was awesome. But he also went on the show after this deeply personal, devastating, tragic loss of an immediate family member. And if you've watched this channel before with me, you know that that pulls at my heartstrings because I've lost most of my immediate family. And so there was just so many conflicting thoughts I had. I was so happy that he wanted to do the show in honor of his sister, but it also felt like maybe it's good. He's going to go home and be with his family. But I was sad to see him go because I felt like I was finally getting to know him and he left the show too soon. So as a viewer, I'm just stoked to get to see more of him and see where he goes in this season. This is Flora from Miami. This is a good get. Like, this is what we wanted with the We Want OGs. Some of these pioneers of the real world, road rules, the challenge, they're not, like, they're of a different time. They're not social media influencers, right? For better or for worse. And so we've lost, that was my dog back there. We lost touch with them. So I'm excited to see Flora. In part because I was a literal child when Miami was airing and I was watching it behind my parents' back. And I don't really remember much besides the fact that she was a firecracker. Also, this is embarrassing, but I'm not even sure. Was she ever on a challenge? Can someone in the comments help me out here? I can go look it up, but I'm frankly not going to right now. So, but, like, is this her first challenge? And either way, she definitely was not around much. So I'm excited to meet her acquaintance again. But what do you guys think? Janelle. Okay. I don't have a problem with Janelle, but this is probably my first apathetic response to someone in the cast. As a viewer, I've never disliked Janelle, but I've just never, I don't know, something just has never resonated, I guess. And I was low-key surprised to even see her on All Stars 2 because I had forgotten that she was even on a challenge. And I don't mean that in a shady way, it's just she only did one, and there's so many one-hit wonders, if you will, like it's easy to lose track. And to be fair, she was on Inferno 3, which is notoriously one of the most just unhinged seasons. It's like more or less been scrubbed from the internet because reasons. I heard a rumor that it was on Paramount Plus now, or that it was coming somewhere, but I never verified that because I actually have most of the season on a drive that I was able to get before the infamous Google Drive was taken down. Because like I cover these old shows for my YouTube, and so I wanted to make sure I at least had some of the controversial seasons when I knew that they were like taking everything down, because I don't know how else I could find them. There's a YouTuber, I forget who they are offhand, but I will look them up and like tag them or something, because they did a really good explanation as to why they think Inferno 3 was taken down. Like it's messy even by other challenge season standards, which is something. It was a product of its time. It was the aughts. But that's the season that Janelle was on, and apparently she won. She said that in All Stars 2, like, I think my credentials are I was on one season and I won. And I get it. The producers are like asking them questions in a way that they are gonna phrase things that way, but like, I just remember as a viewer being like, you did? Why are you talking like you're Evelyn either way? So I don't know. I don't dislike Janelle. She seems like a really nice woman. She seems super smart. She really did awesome on All Stars 2. Like, I got checked, right? Like, she did a great job. Like, I don't know. I would like to see her and Evelyn go toe to toe. Like, that would be interesting. When I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But yeah, I've just never clicked either which way with her as a viewer, so I'm indifferent. But what about you guys? Let's go. I love Jasmine. I feel like when the challenge aired in real time, I was relatively indifferent to her. But upon rewatches and upon her being in All Stars 2, I just appreciate her so much. I think she's hilarious. I think she's fun, and she seems like a sweetheart. So I don't care. I don't care if she does amazing. I don't care if she's the layup. I don't care at all. I'm just happy to see her back on my screen. But I know she can be polarizing, so tell me what you guys think. Like, okay. Did anyone else think A, who? And B, oh wait, is that the J from like that final where like, This is the most egregious use of the word all-star. And look, I'm not gonna be a hater. I do love me a redemption arc. So like, I'm open to where his journey has taken him and who he is now. Like, clean slate, but like, not an all-star. Like, facts. Like, it's not an opinion. He's not an all-star. That is just facts. Hey, best of luck to him. I hope he proves us all wrong. And I don't know. I feel like we should all buckle up because I have no idea what we're in for at all with this, so. Oh, hey now. She's an all-star. I love Kam. I've always loved Kam, and honestly, she might be one of a handful of challengers where I'm just like, how is she not a challenge champ? I'm excited to see her back, and honestly, I'd be the last thing from mad if she took the crown. Like, best of luck, Kam. Speaking of the deep dives, I just did season 2 of The Challenge, and Kefla was in it. So I'm so excited to see him because had I not done that deep dive on season 2, he would not have been fresh in my memory. I remembered that there was a Kefla, but I didn't really remember much because those older seasons are harder to find, and so they're not as ingrained in my memory. He seemed like a nice dude back in the day. I think it was 1999 when season 2 was filmed. I'm pretty sure he came back again, right? Like, I could look at the article, but like, ugh, too far. If you don't know, my memory kind of sucks. I can literally read something and a few minutes later forget it. So if I sound ignorant sometimes, it's a memory thing, guys, I promise. Not that I can't be a dumb blonde sometimes, because yeah, I can. But I'm excited to see Kefla back. But what about you guys? Like, do you have memories of him? Do you have strong opinions either which way? Am I missing something? Do you love him? Let me know in the comments. Ooh. We have not only one of the greatest of all time women of the show, we also have a very polarizing figure of the show. I don't even know where to begin with Laurel. I actually don't dislike her. Like, stay with me for a second because I get it. You guys have some opinions and I don't think you're invalid for them. Historically speaking, I've seen the good and the bad in Laurel. There are moments where she has really pulled at my heartstrings and I've seen a real human and vulnerability and someone with layers. But I have eyes and I have ears and they work, and so I have witnessed on our screens her doing some things that I could only blatantly categorize as unkind, and I don't think that there's a lot of good excuses for that, so I'm not gonna go there. So if you don't like love her, I'm not trying to alienate you. Like, I see you, I really do. But I do see some humanity in her and I don't really hate her. And also, as I've mentioned before, I did get to go to a premiere party in Los Angeles where a lot of these cast members were there. I didn't get to meet Laurel, but I was standing next to her for probably like 10 to 20 minutes. And she had a very interesting fan encounter that she handled with so much grace. I'll do a TED Talk on that another time because it's kind of a long story and I don't want this video to be too long. But I deeply, deeply, deeply respect how she handled somebody who was sort of being a stage 5 Klingon, let's put it that way. So even if you're a Laurel hater, even if you have good reasons, just remember these are all real people and they have a whole spectrum of different personality traits and different goodness and bad and everything in between. I never like to let people off the hook on this like show, but I do like to sort of search for people's humanity and not make them like caricatures. But I have no idea what's going to happen this season with Laurel. That all being said, she has an ex who's pretty volatile, to say the least, who's going to be on this season, and it looks like some stuff happens there. I also don't know, like, where she's at with Cara Maria, because, like they've had, like, oh god, they were really kind of close, it seemed, but they hated each other at first, and then they went back to hating each other, and I don't know what's going to happen with this season. Like, I'm excited for that. So I don't know, is the best going to come out of her? Is the worst going to come out of her? There's some pretty stacked women on this cast, like Cara Maria, Kam. Like, this is a lot of, like, wow, I don't even know how they would all fare against each other. So, and we know Laurel's competitive, so I'm excited to see Laurel back. Because love her or hate her, I do think she's entertaining on television, and I don't know, I just can't hate the girl. But what do you guys think? I love Leroy. Like, I was sad when he retired. I mean, I assumed he'd come back. They all come back. Mark gave away his bandana, and then what'd he do? He not only came back, he like reinvigorated the whole series, hence we're watching All Stars now. Derek retired at one point. Derek's still like not only one of the faces of the challenge, but he has a whole dang podcast. Like, how few people really retire from the challenge? Like, come on. But like, what I love about Leroy is he's no slouch. He's good at the challenge. I believe he can win. I'm sad that he hasn't won. Like, I am rooting for him to win for sure. I just really like Leroy's personality though. He's chill, he seems solid, he's funny, he's smart. But he's also a human. He's made mistakes, but he's been accountable for them. He's grown. Like, he didn't need as big as, like, a character arc change as, say, maybe, I don't know, CT in his early days to where he ended up. Like, Leroy was not that. But if you go back and look at old seasons, you do see him as a younger man, and now he's just like a full-fledged man in the sense of like maturity. And that's why I like these shows. That's why I like seeing all these faces come back on our screens and get to see where they're at now. Like, I love it when it's a positive trajectory. It makes me oddly happy. And I think it's so cute that he's gonna be on with Kam, and they have a baby, and they have another baby coming, and it's a great challenge story, great challenge love story, I mean. So I'm excited to see him back, but what do you guys think? Oh my wordy. It's Nicole. Look, I have thoughts. I'm sure you have thoughts. The girl is good reality TV though. Like, I don't care how you personally feel. I don't even really care how I personally feel. Like, she's never not entertaining, even if it's in a love to hate way at times. I just can't be mad at her being cast. Like, I just can't. Am I rooting for her to win? No. Am I glad she's on this season? Yes. And like, you know she's gonna deliver in terms of drama because I'm pretty sure that's her middle name. And Laurel's on the season, and like, they dated, and it's like, it looks like it's gonna be a thing, guys. So if the All-Stars casting directors were looking for drama, I have the feeling that they delivered. What are your guys' thoughts? Oh, we got Rachel, which is another greatest of all time for the women. My goodness gracious me. Oh my, I don't know where to begin though. I don't dislike Rachel. Like, I do think she's good reality TV. I grew up watching her. I love to see her back on my screens always. I think she adds a lot to the challenge, both like with like the personal aspects of the challenge as well as the game itself. You know though that I love good trajectory stories, good redemption stories, and those usually, for me at least, mean that the person has grown to the point where they take accountability for things that they did in their past. And I don't know if you guys saw the Mike Lewis interview with her, but I didn't really get the vibe that that's where she was at. And that's more or less the most recent sampling that we've had of her. I know she's done some like workout stuff for MTV, but in terms of seeing her full personality on a show or in an in-depth interview, like that was one of the more recent ones, if not the most recent one. And look, I wasn't there, so like maybe there was more to the story, and maybe like Tanya really was like a little sister to her, and she knew that she was joking when they would all gang up on her. What? It didn't pass the smell test for me personally, but I get it. I wasn't there, so like I shouldn't really cast judgment, but my discernment is going off though that our value system may be a little bit different. And so it's just a little hard for me to resonate with someone once I clock that. But again, I am the furthest thing in the world from being mad at her being on our screens. And not just because of everything I said at the top of this Rachel part, but like, she's exactly what a challenge all-star is. And she's also an OG, and the whole like genesis of All-Stars was to bring back all the pioneers from the challenge. And I think between how she dominated so many games and how she was all like, this game is ugly, like she deserves to be on All-Stars. So it's like 1:30 that she should be on All-Stars. What do you guys think though? Do you like Rachel? Do you not like Rachel? Are you like me where you're like maybe some mixed feelings, but she deserves to be here? Where are you at with that? I love Ryan. And when he came back to All-Stars 2, I was probably like a lot of you guys where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember him being fun, but like All-Star, really? Not that he was like bad, because he wasn't, but like, no, he wasn't. Did he make it to a final ever? Like, you know what I mean? Like, what's the definition of All-Stars? Now I'm second guessing. I feel like he did make it to a final or super close to a final. Like, my memory sucks, guys. I don't know what to tell you. Help me out in the comments. But no, I don't think most people would have put him as like one of the most stacked people of the show. But upon his return to All Stars 2, I just forgot how like funny he was and how he's just like a fun presence to have on our screens. Like, he's somebody who's unique to me because he's entertaining enough to make good reality TV, but he is, like, grounded and centered and, like, seems like a nice enough guy enough where he's kind of a breath of fresh air compared to, like, some other people who get cast on these shows. So when he left, I found myself wanting more. Like, so I'm glad that he's coming back. But I don't know if that's, like, a hot take or unpopular opinion, so let me know what you think. Is that everyone's favorite hand model? They're coming back? Sweet. You know, I'm excited to see Steve. I've been sick a lot this winter, so I've been rewatching Challenge All-Stars, like from the jump. And it's interesting rewatching recent history, right? Because it's not like there's a lot of things that have necessarily changed, but I've also had time to process all the shows because I'm just so stimulated watching all my like favorite parasocial favorites. And it's just a lot for my little brain to handle. So now I have some more objectivity. And, like, he played a messy game. I'm not acting like he, like, didn't screw the pooch, because he did. But he seems like a nice enough human, and I'm curious to get to know him more, because I really don't remember him from his original seasons, both the Road Rules, what am I talking about? Road Rules, as well as his early challenge days. So I'm excited to get to know him better. I don't really have a lot of strong feelings other than that, but what about you guys? How do you feel about Steve coming back? I love Cyrus. If you were watching, what, like 2 years ago when like All Stars 3 was airing? Ugh, how has it been 2 years? That's insane. But you may remember that he was the number one that I was rooting for, so I'm not rooting for him. Of course, he's one of my like top guns that I want to win this season. I like Cyrus a lot because he's a good dude, and I just love how he's always been a part of the challenge. Like, he goes away for a couple of seasons, sometimes a lot of seasons, but he'll like randomly come back. So he's like sprinkled his presence in the entire duration of the challenge for the most part. I think, no, since the beginning. And so it's just, I don't know, you gotta have Cyrus on All Stars, right? And I just love that he's in like the best shape of his life and he's so healthy and seems to be so happy. Like, again, I like positive, good, authentic though energies on our screens when it comes to these like where are they now stories. And I feel like Cyrus delivers on that. So I'm definitely rooting for Cyrus, but what about you guys? How do you guys feel? Oh my God, it's Tina. You know, similar to Rachel, there are just some things about Tina that makes me think that we are just two very different people, like top to bottom. However, I find Tina to be so funny sometimes that I can't stay mad at her. Like, what a charmer. And I don't really know how she does it because she's so brash sometimes. But like, I don't know, I like her even though I hold myself accountable sometimes and I'm like, but wait, there's things that she has not been accountable for that she's done that she really should be. I don't mean to be a hypocrite and talk out of both sides of my mouth because I kind of gave Rachel more of a shakedown than I'm giving, you know, Tina, but Rachel never like physically hurt someone either. So, you know, like, I get it. Humans aren't rational, and this is where I'm at. I have a soft spot for Tina, and I'm not even saying, like, again, we're very different people. I'm not even saying I want to be her best friend. But I think she's great television, and she just has a place in my heart for some reason because of that. I don't know. I've tried to shake it, guys, and I can't. But like a lot of these people on this season, she is an all-star. She is somebody who is one of the most memorable characters from the whole franchise. For better or for worse, she was in a lot of the most iconic scenes of especially the first, 10 seasons? But she also, like, I think those 10 seasons are so iconic in of itself that, like, you know, love her or hate her, she should be on the show. But what do you guys think? I know she's an incredibly polarizing figure. I feel it within myself. I feel like I don't know which direction to go in with her either. She confuses my brain a lot, but she's good TV, so I'm cool with her being back on our screens. But what about you guys? All right, we have Tony. This is another contestant where I feel a little bit apathetic towards. I can't say that I've ever been, oh my god, the biggest Tony fan, but he earned some of my respect when he turned on bananas in a move that usually only bananas would do, like the student surpasses the master. So I'm gonna give credit where credit's due. He also hasn't really been on our screens for a while, and I always end up missing the people who I maybe didn't even care that much about if they've been away for too long. So there's that. I really don't know if I'd qualify him as an all-star, but at the same time, he's no slouch. Plus, they've already had Sylvia and Kayla on, and they're less of an all-star than he is, so I'll allow it. But how in the minority or not am I? Are you guys like, yeah, kind of feeling maybe a little type of way about it, but not that mad at it? Are you completely mad at it? Or am I missing the point and Tony's the best ever and he's your favorite? All right, we have Tyrie. I like Tyrie, and I feel like, at least according to the Reddit threads I've seen, I might be in the minority there. I know I'm also in the minority because I actually love Real World Denver, and I keep seeing people list that as like one of the least interesting seasons. And I don't get that, not just because I used to live in Denver and I'm sure that like parts of me just appreciate that season because it's one of the places I consider home. But I actually thought the cast was kind of interesting and they had a good mix of people who were like partying the way the real world had already become at that point. But they also had some pretty interesting like socio-political kind of talks and fights and the stuff that kind of also made the real world good in the beginning. Tyrie earned my respect because he's a human who's made mistakes, but he seems to own those mistakes. And I think he's shown like a lot of grace and class when people have like kind of come for him for less than great reasons, like mostly on the real world, but like otherwise too. That said, I will meet you guys a little bit halfway. I do think he's a good athlete. He has a background in, was it football? Like he was like a real athlete, I feel like, before Buna Murray. But I will concede that he's not like the most stacked, best challenger to ever play the game. That was my dog again, sorry. I am really curious about how he's gonna do on All Stars 4 because he hasn't been on a challenge in a really, really, really long time. And besides a Mike Lewis podcast interview, which was now a few years ago at this point, I don't know what he's up to. I feel like he's a personal trainer. I might be making that up, but I'm assuming he's still in good shape. It looks like he's still in good shape according to this photo. What do you guys think? Are you guys team Tyrie? Are you not a fan? How do you think he's gonna do after so many years out of the game? Tell me everything. And last but certainly not least, we have Veronica. Let me think about how I went to conquer this. Let's start with the pros. Pro number one, she's an all-star, and I don't think people can really fight me on that. She's one of the most iconic personalities of the challenge, and more to the point, I think for better or for worse, because she was such a big part of the first 10 seasons, like she helped shape the challenge. Pro number two is she's also good reality TV. She has an entertaining personality, and she never really fails to deliver to do something interesting on any season that she's on. She's also very smart and one of the first people, I think, who kind of really figured out how to play the game from a political standpoint. So, like, I'm not mad at her being cast for those reasons. However, how do you guys feel? Because for me personally, she reminds me of so many people who have been in my life who were some of the most manipulative people I've ever met. Even as a much younger human, I clock that, and every rewatch, I clock it. All Stars 3, I still got those vibes. So, like, I can't really say I'm a fan. It's like one of those things where there's space for a few things to be true at once. I'm always happy to see her on my screen, but am I rooting for her? Probably not. Because I don't think she's, like, changed. Like, say what you will about Beth, but I see some growth at least some of the time with her. And when her and Beth were on All Stars 3 together, I felt like Veronica was really trying to control the narrative in their whole like dual confessional thing that they did. And I thought the way Beth roasted her was actually pretty ding-dang funny. That all said, I will say that it is iconic AF that they got Veronica and Tina and Rachel all back in the same season. What's that been, since like 2006 maybe? I've been personally wanting that ever since All Stars started, because it was a We Want OGs campaign and it's impossible not to think of that trio when you're thinking about the OGs. But now that it's happening, I'm like, oh yeah, they are not necessarily the nicest people of the challenge, and maybe this is gonna be a, woo, careful what you wish for in 2024 type thing, you know? What do you guys think? I have the feeling it's gonna be pretty split in the comments, so let me know what you think. About Veronica, about all of them, please follow to see more, because I have more challenge content coming. Plus I got my YouTube, so go give me a follow there, button and profile. And it's been a pleasure going through the cast with you. Bye.